Tinkerverse, an electronics store dedicated to hobbyists, educators, makers, and tinkerers. In this tutorial, we will be showing you how to install ESPHome on a ESP32 microcontroller using Home Assistant. This tutorial assumes you already have Home Assistant OS installed and running. If you haven't installed it yet, check out our tutorial on how to install Home Assistant OS on a Raspberry Pi. What is ESPHome? ESPHome lets you configure sensors, relays, lights, switches, and other IoT components on an ESP microcontroller using a simple YAML configuration file. Instead of writing C++ code, like with Arduino, you describe what you want in YAML. ESPHome then compiles and uploads the firmware automatically. Key features: simple configuration. It's YAML-based, meaning that there is no coding required. Home Assistant integration. Devices appear automatically. Over-the-air updates. The firmware updates wirelessly. Supports many sensors and devices, for example, DHT temperature and humidity sensors, relays, voltage sensors, LEDs, displays, and many more. Custom components. You can add your own C++ code when needed. Secure and local first, works locally, there is no cloud dependency. Typical use cases: smart light switches and relays, environmental sensors, temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide, and many more. Smart plugs or energy monitors, motorized blinds or fans, custom dashboards for home automation. That small configuration allows for an ESP32 microcontroller to read temperature and humidity from a DHT22 sensor and send that data to Home Assistant. In short, ESPHome is easy to use, local, and a powerful firmware for ESP boards. Perfect for DIY smart home enthusiast. Let's take a look at the hardware you will need to get started. An ESP32 microcontroller, any variant will work. ESPHome can work on the older ESP8266 microcontrollers. However, they are now deprecated and no longer actively being developed for. We recommend you use a ESP32 microcontroller, a USB data cable for flashing the microcontroller. Older ESP32 microcontrollers use a USB micro Type B connector, while newer models are equipped with USB Type C. DuPont jumper wires for connecting the ESP32 microcontroller to external sensors. A breadboard. This is optional, but it comes in useful when connecting many external sensors. Handy when developing or prototyping, as it requires no soldering. It's perfect for makers and tinkerers. Now you understand what ESPHome is and the hardware required to install it. Let's get started. Let's start by opening Home Assistant. Open your web browser and type in homeassistant.local port 8123. Now log in with your username and password you entered when you set up Home Assistant. Now click on Settings from the sidebar. Now click on Add-ons. Now click on Add-on Store. Now click on ESPHome Device Builder. Please note, if you do not see ESPHome Device Builder, search for ESPHome Device Builder from the add-on store. Go ahead and click on Install. Now go ahead and enable Watchdog and add to sidebar. Then click on Start. Once ESPHome has successfully started, you will see additional information, such as the host name, CPU usage, and RAM usage. Finally, click on Open Web UI. At this point, if you don't see ESPHome in the sidebar, click on Refresh in your web browser. You should now see ESPHome Builder in the sidebar. You have now successfully installed ESPHome and added it to the sidebar on Home Assistant. Now connect your ESP32 microcontroller to your computer with a USB cable. Let's begin flashing the ESP32 microcontroller with ESPHome. Now, click on New Device. You will see a message prompting you that you need to connect your ESP32 microcontroller. Click on Continue. When prompted to create your configuration, click on New Device Setup. When creating a configuration, you will be prompted to give the device a name. You will also have to enter your Wi-Fi network name and password. Go ahead and enter your own details. After clicking on Next, you will be asked which microcontroller you are using. Select the correct microcontroller variant that you are using. In this tutorial, we are using an ESP32S3. Go ahead and click on Install. Now click on Plug into this computer. Please note, for the initial setup, you will need to install the ESPHome firmware onto the ESP32 microcontroller by connecting it to your computer with a USB cable. Once the firmware is installed, you will be able to update the device wirelessly from that point on. Now click on Download Project and then click on Factory Format. The ESPHome firmware will now be downloaded onto your computer. Now, click on Open ESPHome Web. Once on the ESPHome web page, click on Connect. You should now see your device listed. Select it and then click on Connect. Once your device is connected, click on Install. Now click on Choose File. Now select the firmware file that was downloaded previously and click on Open. This is the final step of flashing the ESP32 microcontroller with ESPHome. We are now ready to flash the ESP32 microcontroller. Finally, click on Install. Congratulations, you have now successfully flashed ESPHome to the ESP32 microcontroller and integrated it with Home Assistant. Go ahead and click on Close. Now that we have successfully flashed ESPHome onto the ESP32 microcontroller, let's take a look at some of its features. Now go back to Home Assistant. Visit homeassistant.localport 8123 on your web browser and click on ESPHome Builder from the sidebar. We can edit the device's YAML file by clicking on Edit. Earlier in this video, we mentioned the YAML configuration file. This is where the code will be entered when adding sensors or additional components. Let's take a closer look at the YAML file. The default YAML configuration file contains just 7 blocks and spans 31 lines. Let's break it down for a better understanding on how ESPHome works. The first ESPHome block of the YAML file consists of 3 lines, which is the name. This is the internal ID for the device. It is also used as entity IDs in Home Assistant. For example, living room sensor temperature would be assigned if the ESP32 device name is living room and has a temperature sensor connected to it. Please note that the name of the device must be in lowercase and contain no spaces. However, you can use underscores instead. A friendly name is optional, but very common. This is the nice human-readable name shown in Home Assistant's user interface. The friendly name can contain spaces and capitals and doesn't affect IDs, just what you see. The hardware platform block starts at line 5 and consists of 4 lines. On line 5, tells ESPHome that we are using a ESP32 microcontroller. On line 6, we define the exact ESP32 board we are using. This tells ESPHome the specific board definition, pin mapping, and flash size. On line 7 is where the framework configuration begins. And on line 8, we define the framework type we would like to build against. In our example, we are using the ESP-IDF framework as we are using a ESP32 microcontroller. However, the Arduino framework is also available. The logger block on line 11 turns on logging and debug output from the device. The API block on line 14 enables the native ESPHome API, so Home Assistant can talk directly to the device. When this is present and the device is on the network, Home Assistant automatically discovers it. You get low latency updates and remote control. It also contains your device's unique encryption key. On line 18 is the over-the-air updates block. This allows for seamless over-the-air updates. This is very handy as it allows you to upload new firmware over Wi-Fi instead of plugging in your microcontroller to your computer every time. On line 22 is the Wi-Fi block. This reads your wireless network name and password from your secrets.yaml file and forwards it onto your devices. This feature offers both convenience and added security. The final block is on line 27, which contains the AP block. This allows for a fallback access point to be enabled. If your Wi-Fi disconnects, or the device is unable to connect to your Wi-Fi for any reason, it creates its own network access point. From there, you can fix the network configuration via the ESPHome web interface. The SSID is the name of that temporary Wi-Fi network, and the password is the password you will need to use to connect to that network. The captive portal is that nice configuration page in fallback mode. It works with the fallback access point. When enabled, it allows you to connect to the device's own Wi-Fi, and it automatically shows a simple web page to help you set or fix Wi-Fi settings. What is not included in the default configuration file? Out of the box, the default configuration file doesn't actually do anything interesting yet. You usually add components like a sensor or a switch. In our next tutorial, we will be showing you how to add a DHT22 temperature and humidity sensor to ESPHome and displaying the data on a Home Assistant dashboard. Now, let's continue exploring more of ESPHome's features. By clicking on Logs, we'll show you a log of the device. This is very handy when debugging information such as the IP address, wireless signal strength, faults in connectivity, and many more. By clicking on Update All, we'll update all devices connected to ESPHome. By clicking on Clean All, we'll delete all build files which were required for compiling but are now no longer being used. By clicking on Secrets, we'll allow you to view and edit the Secrets YAML file. This file stores your wireless network name and password. By clicking on the magnifying glass icon, we'll allow you to search for ESPHome connected devices. This is very handy if you have multiple devices connected. By clicking on the top right hamburger button, then show discovered devices. We'll hide and show discovered devices. Now, let's move over to the device's hamburger menu. By clicking on Validate, we can ensure everything is running as expected. The Validate log shows you handy information such as the device type, the network it is connecting to, and most importantly, if the configuration file is valid. By clicking on Install, will allow you to install a new YAML file. You can install it in a variety of ways, either wirelessly. This requires the device to be online and connected to your Wi-Fi. By plugging your ESP32 into your computer with USB, or by using ESPHome Device Builder, and finally, manually with ESPHome Web. By clicking on Show API Key, we'll show the device's unique API key and allow you to copy it for safekeeping. By clicking on Download YAML file, we'll allow you to save the configuration to your computer. By clicking on Rename Hostname, we'll allow you to change the name of the device. By clicking on Clean Build Files, we'll delete the device's build files. These are files required for compiling, but are no longer being used, as we mentioned earlier. By clicking on Download ELF, we'll download the firmware onto your computer. And finally, by clicking on Delete, we'll delete the device from ESPHome. Please note, clicking Visit will result in a page not found message. This is because a web server has not been set up yet. That's it, we have explored all of ESPHome's main features. You are now ready to go ahead and watch our next tutorial on how to add a DHT22 temperature and humidity sensor to ESPHome. Don't forget you can buy sensors, ESP32 microcontrollers and bundles from our store. Visit tinkerverse.co.uk. We offer free delivery to the UK on all of our products. Thanks for watching. And if you like tutorials like this, then don't forget to like and subscribe.